The SCP Foundation contains hundreds of horrifying entries detailing some truly bizarre and terrifying creatures. These entities are locked away securely and monitored around the clock by Foundation personnel. But out of all of these creepy creations, which are the scariest? Stick around as we take a tour through the SCP Foundation and look at some of the scariest SCP entities of all time. Let's kick things off with a creepy looking SCP that is highly dangerous and volatile. SCP-106 is a withered, blackened looking old man with glistening eyes and a haunting, toothy grin. While SCP-106 could place on this rundown on looks alone, its characteristics are what make it truly frightening. It is able to step through solid objects such as walls and enter a dimension between, teleporting out of other nearby solid objects in order to escape containment or capture its prey. Because of this, it is kept in a cell surrounded by other cells full of liquid to prevent free movement. SCP-106 is also sensitive to bright light. It enjoys hiding within walls, waiting for a human to pass it by, at which point it tears their organs and muscles to quickly incapacitate its victim before dragging them into the in-between dimension to feast. A scorch mark on the wall, the only sign it was ever there. Do you have a fear of creepy crawlies? If the answer is yes, then this particular SCP is probably going to be especially unnerving for you. SCP-363 looks like a normal centipede at first glance, and like most centipedes, it likes to hide in dark places. However, when this particular centipede finds its dark place, it makes a horrifying transformation, growing up to 10 meters long by 2 meters wide. Size is not the only thing that changes about this particular centipede when it enters darkness. It can, on occasion, also gain tentacles, additional limbs, and even new eyes. It can move at lightning speed to devour its prey. SCP-363 detects body heat, and so it can hunt in complete darkness. After it has feasted, SCP-363 returns to the size of a normal centipede and becomes indistinguishable from any other once again. Ever looked upon something so terrifying it caused you to freeze up in fear, like a deer in the headlights? This is the exact feeling one gains from gazing upon SCP-303, a tall, naked humanoid figure with reddish-brown skin and a head consisting of nothing more than a freakishly large mouth. SCP-303 uses a fog to make sure that only a small area of its body is visible at any given time. It tries to keep itself hidden from sight and does not seem intent on seeking out people to scare, despite having that effect on anybody unfortunate enough to lay eyes on it. Also known as the Doorman, SCP-303 hides behind doors and curtains most of the time. The SCP database shares the tale of a man who died of fear and starvation in a stockroom after he was unable to leave when SCP-303 showed up outside the only exit. Another tale documents the story of a woman who spent 3 hours crying in the shower when the creature made its presence known on the other side of the shower curtain. It can easily be detected due to a heavy wheezing sound emitted from its open mouth. SCP-0871 is a pale humanoid face with no pupils in its eyes and no nostrils in its nose. It is almost featureless and stares into the soul of anyone who encounters it, draining their mental condition before bounding toward them in a vicious manner. Despite this, there are no reports from survivors of this entity having a body of any kind. It simply appears as a face floating in the darkness of a stairwell. This stairwell is known as SCP-087, and is, as far as we know, never-ending. There is no light source within this stairwell and no known life forms aside from SCP-0871, although the sound of a child wailing can at times be heard when venturing down into its depths. It is unknown whether this wailing belongs to SCP-0871 or not. At a first glance, there is nothing particularly creepy about SCP-513. It looks like an old cowbell. However, if the bell is rung, then those exposed to it begin to experience some undesirable side effects. To begin with, those who hear the bell gain an extreme sense of anxiety and a heightened blood pressure. An hour after hearing the bell, they feel as if an unknown entity is watching them, and gradually they catch glimpses of this creature in doorways, mirrors, and in the corner of their vision. But only for a fleeting moment at first. This entity is known as SCP-5131, and seems to be summoned by the bell itself. SCP-5131 will then stalk the person exposed to the sound of its bell, appearing before them and then disappearing a few times each hour. It will even attack the person if they manage to fall asleep before running out of sight once again. This constant fear and mental anguish cause the victim to grow more and more paranoid until they decide they would rather not live any longer. The idea of an enormous creature residing below the waves in the darkest depths ready to attack is certainly an uncomfortable thought. SCP-169 is a leviathan which moves around the ocean floor. The creature is so large it cannot be captured and housed at any facility. It was first picked up via satellite imagery along the South American coastline. Reports estimate the beast at a length of anywhere between 2,000 and 8,000 kilometers. It is in fact so large that it causes tremors which shift nearby land when it moves. However, due to its vast scale, this SCP moves less than 1 kilometer per week and only needs to breathe a few times per month. Its breathing can even cause mild tremors across the seabed around its current location. For much of each year, this leviathan lies dormant, but does deserve a place on this list simply due to its bewildering scale and hidden location beneath the ocean's surface. Surely there's nothing more terrifying than a contagious disease. A virus that, once contracted, has the ability to rapidly and painfully kill someone. This is exactly what SCP-610 is. This virus first originated from Lake Baikal in southern Siberia and affected a group of people living there. Once infected, the bodies of SCP-610's victims rapidly gained scars and skin decay with a steep rise in body temperature. The person would end up horrifically deformed, dying just a few hours later. However, this wasn't the end. The bodies of the victims reanimated just 5 minutes later. A fleshy substance grew over their skin, and they would even gain additional limbs, as well as body parts such as their face and shoulders, morphing into hideous sights. Eventually, these reanimated life forms would root themselves to nearby walls and flooring, spreading the infected flesh from their bodies around them. They now only move if they spot somebody living and as yet uninfected, at which point they will begin moving toward them. This is one of the scariest SCPs, as once again it cannot be contained, and so agents are simply instructed to put down those infected and quarantine the area immediately. If you follow SCP fiction, games, art, or anything related to this particular horror niche, then you may have already guessed the #1 spot on today's list of the scariest entries of all time, SCP-173. This horrifying creature stands at around 8 feet tall, with short limbs outstretched to grab its victims, and a huge head with enormous bug-like eyeballs. Terrifying mostly because it moves at incredible speeds and will snap the neck of any human it encounters without hesitation, this expressionless SCP is highly dangerous and aggressive. Although 173 only moves when its would-be victim breaks eye contact, so as long as you don't look away, blink or break its line of sight, then you should be okay. But how long do you think you can keep your eyes open, especially on something so creepy, without having to blink? And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at SuperHorrorBro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.